Yeah, good morning. Welcome to Azure training. And today we are going to see about the setting up PowerShell for Azure and Azure command line interface. So these are the backend tools we use for the creating the resources or deploying the resources with respect to the Azure instead of using the GUI, nothing but portal. So what is a PowerShell? PowerShell is an execution engine which is used to interact with various types of resources, including resources that are defined in Azure. So now we'll be going and we'll be creating an PowerShell Azure interaction with the cloud Azure. So now I'll be going and I'll just searching for PowerShell, and we need to run it with administrator access. Now I'll click on run as an administrator. Yes. Now I will just go. I'll just set the policies. So what I will do, I will just set the execution policy which allows remote signed scripts to run. So for allowing the remote scripts to run, I will be initially setting a policy. So for it, I'll give set execution policy remote sign. So we faced an remotion execution. So it's a typo. It's asked for the S. Yes, the policy has been set. Now I will try to install the Azure PowerShell modules. For it, I will be just typing the command like install hyphen module hyphen name is the Azure hyphen allow global hyphen scope current user. So basically it try to install the Azure PowerShell modules. So once it's done, now I'll import the all the Azure modules. For that, I'll run import module az verbose. So once the modules get imported, then I will try to connect to the Azure via PowerShell. So once I connect, I can just run the commands from backend. I can list the resources. I can add a disk. I can create a virtual machine. I can perform all the tasks that are done from the GUI console mode. I can do it from the backend, nothing but a CLI PowerShell mode. Once it's done, then I will just try to connect to Azure account. It's asked for the Azure account. Yes, it's connected. So you can see my account name and what are the subscription I'm holding. This is the tenant ID and the environment. It's Azure Cloud. So now I'll just try to list a few resources which are available. I'll just from the backend, I'll fire a command so that I'll get a list of the resources on a particular region. So for it, I'll be using a command Azure resource group hyphen location. And which location it is? It is Central US. Yes. See, I got all the resources stated in the center. So we can confirm here. So this is a resource group. These are the resource groups which are available on the central region, like WinRG, LinuxRG, and everything. The same thing I can see here. LinuxRG, WinRG, and everything. So this is one way of connecting a CLI method and applying or performing any activities from the backend. So another way, we have the Azure command line interface. For it, we need to go and install an Azure command line interface application. So I can go Azure command line. If you type in the Google, I'll be getting it. Docs. So for which I'm using a Windows operating system, Windows 10. So I used Windows. We'll be having a MSI file over here. So already this CLI is installed on my system. So now I will just go to, so as when you practice, you just need to install in your system and then go to command prompt, and in command prompt, just go to C drive, and in it, we need to give it Azure login. As this Azure command line interface is a dedicated command line interface for Azure itself. So for it, we need to go to Google and download Azure command line interface MSA application .exe file or msi.msa file, and then we need to install it, and then we go to command prompt. Now I'm trying to log in with my Azure account. So it takes 10 seconds to redirect to Azure CLI. Once it redirected, we can able to perform few tasks. So as I done in the PowerShell, I'll be doing the same in the Azure CLI also. So here it says you have been logged in. What is your cloud name? The subscription, free trial, it's enabled. What's your account ID? This is my account name. So here I will just try invoke a command so that I'll get a list of the resource group. I'll give Azure group list hyphen query. In it, I'll be just giving the option. So in location, I'll be giving as Central US. Yes, it's a case sensitive. So now I got in Central what are the resources available? These are the resources, my resource group, line X22, and these are the few resources available on the my particular location and region Central US. So this is one way of performing the backend activities by using the Azure command line. Now, what I will do is I will go to PowerShell again and I will try to add a disk to the virtual machine. For it, I need to have a virtual machine in place. Here we don't have any virtual machine. I will try to create a virtual machine. So quickly I'll be creating a virtual machine, like I'll be using my research group demo WinVM 123, the central US itself. I'll be just logging here, and I'll be giving the username and password for it. It's a demo user and password is welcome. So I'll just enable the HTTP port. If I want to install an IAS service, it will be helpful to access from the browser using the public IP. So rest of the things remains are just of the boot diagnostics off, and rest of the things I'll just keep it as a review and create and create. Once it gets created from the PowerShell, we'll be going ahead and we'll be creating a disk from the backend. In the earlier classes, we have created this from the GUI phase and the portal form. Now I'll be creating from the backend, that is from the PowerShell. The VM is getting deployed. Was the deployment successful? So after this creation of the disk from the PowerShell, later we'll be seeing the next concept like creating a virtual machines, how we can add a disk to it, and how we can mount it, and how do a partition in it. So it will be enough for the class. So then the virtual VM has been created. Then, so when we go to disk section, we don't find any disk here. So now I'll be going and I'll be creating a disk from PowerShell. So, so for it, I'll be just using resource group. I'll be giving resource group as you can see in which resource group is created. Okay, I can copy this one. You can paste. And what is the machine? So what is the machine name I gave? I gave Windows VM. So this is the machine I gave. And what is the location? So I'm trying to just define a variables which I can use it in next further steps. I'm defining a variables. Which can be used. It's a central US. And then I'll give a storage type. Storage type as I'll give it as premium LRS. And what are the LRS? It's local redundant storage. And what does it mean? We'll be seeing in further classes when we come across the storage accounts. Data disk name. Something like my new disk 001. What is the size of the disk you want to mention? Data disk size. I want to give something like 10 GB. Yeah. Now I have defined the variables. Now I'll be just conferring the data disk. So I'll be using dollar data disk config equal to new Azure disk config hyphen SKU. What is SKU? I'll be showing it. And I'll be giving a storage type, which I have defined over there. Storage type. And what is the location? I already defined the location. And location variable. If I want to create an empty disk, so I'll be just creating the empty disk. hyphen disk size in GB. So already specified the variable like data disk size, give the same data disk size. So everything is done. I configure. Now I'll be just adding a new disk to the particular resource group. We have configured the disk. Now we are adding the resource to the resource group. That nothing but a resource group demo. I'll be adding it. So that the virtual machine and the resource group and the data disk are in the same resource group. Equal to new AZ disk disk name. What is the disk name? I already gave what is the disk name there. Data disk name hyphen disk data disk config. So what is the resource group name? Already defined the variable for the resource group. So added the disk. Now I'll further what I will do. I will add this disk to the particular machine. So initially I configure this. First step, add it to the resource group. Now I'm adding it to the. Now I'm getting the VM of the particular resource group. So I'll go VM. I can get the VM with AZ VM name. I already have the machine name over there. Hyphen resource group name. In resource group name, already mentioned what is the resource group. So what is the resource group? It's mentioned in the resource group. So okay, there's a typo over there. So I have defined the machine of the resource group. Now I'll be adding the particular created disk to the particular machine. So I'll be just doing VM is equal to add my Azure VM disk data disk to my VM. What is the VM? The name of the VM is data disk name. Hyphen. I will create option attach. I'll manage disk ID. What is the disk ID? I'll be giving as data disk 01 or LD, which we have given here. Right? The same thing I'm defining here. Hmm. So it resolved the error that cannot validate argument on a particular managed. The argument is null or empty. Is non create data disk LD. Okay. We had the to take the help of the disk, so we can have I already okay. I'll take the command from here. Just the com. Yeah, there's a typo. I just gave one included, which is attached to learn. That's the error here. Okay, I did not give one. Perfect. Then I'll go and update my AZVM with the resource group. Let's see it does create it or not. So actual the error is I did not give any space over here. So that's the error. So the particular data disk will be configured, will be included in the resource group, and it gets added to the virtual machine as it's in the same group, and then it will be spinned up. It takes few minutes to create a data disk and to attach to a VM. We just wait for it. And in further classes, we'll be just seeing what is managed and unmanaged disks and what is the use of the managed and unmanaged disk. And we'll be just going through the Linux virtual machines, how we can create a Linux virtual machine, how we can add a disk to it, how we can do a partition, and how we can mount particular disk in a Linux virtual machine. We can create a Linux virtual machine by using a snapshot of the disk where we no need to perform any partition activities. We can do a mount. So it mounts and we'll be having the particular files and folders which are in the snapshot taken by a virtual machine. And in Linux virtual machines, while creating the Linux virtual machines, we'll be giving a few installation steps that takes care of the installation of the web server. So after creating of the virtual machine, Azure installs particular web server in it and it will be up and running. We can access it through using the public IP from the browser. So we'll be just going to the Azure portal. Is yes, you can see it, right? A new disk has been created. So this ends up this session for today, and we'll be going further in the further classes. So have a good day.